You are live, y'all. When technical difficulties happen, technical difficulties happen. So I thought the only this is not the normal way that I start out, but I thought the only difficulty that I had last night was just the fact that the video totally cut out and just cut me out before I was even done. Um, but apparently, it completely changed my time to I think the 21st for this or tomorrow, the 20th at like this says 8 p.m. But when I pulled it up someplace else to go to change it, it told me it was at 1 a.m. in the morning. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, y'all. But if you miss this, there are replays. If you miss anything, there are replays. We're single moms, and I know that we can't just drop everything just to. I'm gonna come closer. So I know that we can't just drop everything just to, participate in something something that we want to participate in. So I'm gonna go back in here and that's funny. It doesn't even say that I'm live. Let me go out and see if it, and go back in the group. This is a hot mess. No, 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 no. That was me. Oh, there I am. Okay. Well, it does say I'm live. It doesn't even say that I'm live. Let me go. It recorded all of that. Okay. Hey, Susan. Thank you for watching. So, my name is Bess Parks right here. I'm the host and the founder of the Single Moms um, private Facebook group. And also hashtag Single Moms Level Up. I put the hashtag in there. I just like saying it that way. But my name is Bess. I am the single mom of two, and I'm also recently a new grandmother, as y'all saw on day one, my special guest. But today is day three, and yesterday it completely just cut me off, and then um I couldn't get back into the system to do some things. Everything was just acting buck wild, so I just let it go. you know which is what uh which is what single moms do. you know that's what we learn to do. We learn to like not hold so tightly gripped on to things, that we let some things go. So the day one we talked about, the newborn stage of single moms, and how we change when we become a single mom, and not just talking from the day that your child is born, but the day that you find out that you're pregnant. Our minds just go, in so many different directions, probably swirling around, um, and all that. But the day that you become a single mom, you go through a whole nother evolution as well. So if you weren't a single mom from the beginning, when you found out you were pregnant, and if you weren't a single mom then and you became a single mom later on in the process of or evolution of single moms, then of course your place where you start will be different. But and these are general because there's a whole lot of other things that factor in, but it's some things to think about, and some things to help with the ever changing process of the evolving as a single mom. So we were talking about the early stages yesterday. We're going to call this early stages part two, and go from there, because the early stages are really from in a child, really from age 1 to 5. That's like the early stages. And then after 5, then they become primary, and then when they're primary, that's a whole nother thing, a different way, a different dynamic of stuff being done. um, Basically nap time is a done deal. There is no more nap time too much, because there's more for your child to do, more for you to do, more of a schedule that has to be kept, so that everything can get done. And that's what that is. So maybe we'll call this session not early stages part 2, but let's call it primary stages, or primary stage. Hmm, the primary stages. So in case you didn't know where you are and what you clicked on to, this is day three of the evolution of a single mom challenge. Single moms evolve, and we evolve into who we become. And after we've done the majority and the main part of raising our kids, basically, we raise them up until they're 18, but that doesn't mean that we don't continue to advise and everything. But it's more from a consulting thing, and not something where we demand something be done and they do it, because now they're 18 and they can make their own decisions. And that's where we have to just take our hands off, give them our opinion, allow them to receive it or not, and then pray for the rest. Pray for it to go well, and that everything is all right and that they're protected and everything. But today we're not talking about that part. That's Saturday. Let's talk about the lesson or the topic at hand. Today we're talking about the primary stages. I put part 2 on there. We're talking about the primary stages. Okay. So we'll call it early stages, part 2. We'll do the slash. How about that? Okay, so primary stages, part 2 / primary stages. So this is what it's the topic today is early stages, part 2 / primary stages. So as we transition into the primary stages of being single moms, now it's no longer baby, it's no longer basically just you and the child at that point, where you are the biggest influence of your kids. It now becomes a whole lot more people. Now there's like other kids, unless your kids went to preschool. If your kids go to preschool, then they're entered into this early, which means that they're affected and influenced. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. And influenced by the other children. The other children that are raised maybe in different ways and different all that, and have their own personality and their own things that are going on. So our children get affected by that. So we have a short period of time to be their biggest influence and to impart our morals and values and everything to our children. And in doing that, we pull out so much stuff from us that we have to realize, hey, you know what? Even though I was raised that way, that's not, maybe it doesn't work anymore for you. Or maybe you see that, hey, there's a better way of doing that. Not saying it's wrong, but as single moms, we go through so many changes as we're raising our kids, along with our kids, because it brings up a lot of memories. It brings up that little you, and however you experienced yourself at that point in time. You may, if you remember, because they say that we can, and this is, I'm gonna not say they, but researchers say that and psychologists and everything say that we don't have memories past 3 years old. So some of those memories, are spotty. I think I remember one thing from when I was 3 years old, and I went to a Montessori preschool, and I remember I was home for a while. And I remember before that feeling so scared and frightened and anxious and everything because I was at school, and I couldn't wait for my mother to come pick me up. And I remember that for a while I was taken out of school, and I had chicken pox. And so I was taken out of school and I was with my mom, and I was loving the fact that I was with my mom and my mom was home with me. She was not, because she's a teacher, and that means she had to take the time off. She couldn't leave me with my big sister because she didn't want my sister to get chicken pox, because at that time my sister was in high school. So she couldn't have my sister do it. So she had to do it because she was the single mom. She was a single mom, and it was all on her. So she had to take the time off to take me to the doctor, find out that I had chicken pox, get all the ointments and everything. And then with me having chicken pox, and when I was smaller, I had allergies and asthma really bad. So if anything else, any other bacteria, whatever, chicken pox, whatever, entered into my system too, it would inflame and react to everything else, because it was really bad for me when I was little. I was a very sick child. So if anything else happened outside of my body's norm, it would cause havoc on everything else. So, needless to say, she was having to still put ointments and stuff on me, but she couldn't put certain things on me because it would make me break out, and then I'd be itching even more. And it was just a whole big thing. And I remember that. That was like an event that I remember. Um, and then I know I was 3 because I remember going back to Montessori and crying because I didn't want to go. I wanted my mom to stay home with me. But that was one. And then I have another memory from when I was probably about I had to be about 4 or 5. Yeah, I had to be about 4 or 5. And actually maybe 5, 6, because I'm judging it based off of the other child that was involved in that. So we had a neighbor that had that my neighborhood friend had a younger brother who was about 2 years younger than me. So he also had asthma and everything. So we at one point were in the hospital at the same time. We're in the children's wing, being treated for our asthma and everything. And we were sitting at this one of those big round tables. And in that, those big round tables, we were all coloring and everything. They had us, to calm ourselves. We couldn't do a bunch of running and everything because we were there for asthma treatment, and that would not be the smartest thing to do. So we're all coloring and everything. And the brother of my neighborhood friend reached for a crayon. Now I got stuff popping up that's doing things. So my neighborhood friend's brother he grabbed this crown and he was going to color with it. This other little boy snatched the crown from him. And so I saw it happen. And so, the little boy, he didn't care. He's like, okay, so he goes in and grabs another one. The boy snatched that one from him too. I was like, now I'm looking. And so, the little boy, the neighborhood, brother, my neighborhood friend's brother went and got another crown because there was a whole pile of them. There was no reason for this other child to be snatching crowns from him because there was a whole mess of pile of crowns. But what he could reach was what he was getting. So he took that and it was like a third crown. And now this little boy snatched that from him again. I realized at a very young age that I had a very bad temper. And I curbed it at that time because of this incident. So the little boy snatched it from him. I told him, give it back to him. He was like, no, I'm not. It's mine, this, that, whatever, whatever little kids say. Of course, I don't remember the exact conversation. I just remember my actions and my reactions to somebody doing something wrong to somebody else that I knew and cared about. Um, and so I ended up being some back and forth, and he didn't do it. He wouldn't give him the crown back. Next thing you know, I'm out of my chair, flew over the table, and was just wham, just beating that boy. And I remember the nurses having to come over and to get me off of the boy. The poor little boy, and I didn't see him because I was so angry. All I saw was red, and I was just so angry and upset. And with asthma and allergies and everything that was going on while I was in the hospital, it was actually not a good thing for me to be upset, because when you're overly emotional all the time, it affects your asthma. It has an emotional response in your asthma, because a lot of times there's crying that's going to create more mucus and whatever else. I'm not going to go into detail because that's a little gross, but it creates more of an issue. So they got me off the little boy. They're dragging me off to my room, and they're dragging me off to my room, and they happened to take me. The little boy happened to go past my room to wherever they were taking him, and I got a glimpse of him and saw his whole just blood all down running down his face. I felt so bad, and was like, oh my god, look at what I did to somebody else. And I was just like, that's, I knew it was wrong, and I was like, look what I did to somebody else. And so and then on top of it, I was so angry and stuff, they actually strapped me to the bed because I wouldn't stay in the bed. I was going to get back up and go get that little boy. And so my all these thoughts that I had happened much later after I was strapped to the bed. They called my mother. Um, I'm strapped to the bed. They're having to put the tent over me because I'm wheezing at the same time. And I'm still so upset. And it wasn't until, the medication started getting into my system and everything. And most of the medication for asthma makes you sleepy. And so in my sleep, I guess somehow I went through all my thoughts in my mind and everything, and realized that I was wrong, and that I never wanted to be in that place again where I was out of control, angry like that. So pretty much most of my life, I have not done that. But if somebody keeps poking at it, and I've learned this term: if somebody keeps poking the bear is going to come out. But I was saying all that to say this, that our children remember more of what we do than what we say. And if that's what our children experience, and our children don't have an opportunity to see us be in control, to see us have self-control, to see us have self-control with food, or to see us have self-control with exercise, to see if that have self-control in what we say we're going to do, to see us have that type of self-control, that our children won't, they won't receive it themselves. um, but today we're talking about the early stages, and part two, and the primary stages. And so the primary stages is where we start to learn stuff very quickly. So as we are now more seasoned and more experienced single moms, now that we've gone through the baby stage, we're now past kindergarten, now we're into the primary portion of single moms, and us having to evolve. All these stages, we as single moms have to change. We have to change. We can't keep going and reacting the same way that we used to react when the child was a baby and now they're six. We can't do that. We can't do that. We have to change and respond and give in ways that a 6-year-old can now understand, versus a baby that probably doesn't know what you're saying, just sees you smiling, and they smile too. But they're more like cause and effect. They see you smile, they're gonna smile. But a 6-year-old now has words and questions. They got a lot of questions at that age. So those questions sometimes dig really deep into us as single moms. Um, Sometimes they'll by that time, if there's uh, parent day or parent teacher conference or meet the teacher type stuff, um, the kids start to notice, hey, these people have two parents, but I've only got one. Why do I only have one parent? So now that's when that conversation comes up in those primary years. And we have to be as truthful as we can be according to their age. So we may not be able to tell them in detail what's going on, but we need to tell them something. And as they get older, they may ask, more questions or not. Um, a lot of times they do, and then you have to explain in a new way, not the same way you explained when they were 6 or 7. And now they're 11 or 12 and may bring it up again. Now you got to explain it in a different way that has a little bit more detail that they can grasp what the situation is. um but and don't be mean, and don't be um critical of the other person that's not there to defend themselves. And that's not to say or to stick up for them in any kind of way. That's just what I found in my experience with my own single mom. And then, hey Michelle, thanks for joining and watching live. So that's my experience in those primary times. I'm able to speak as a child of a single mother and a single mother. So that's an interesting dynamic for me, because I was like, wow, I could speak kind of to both things at the same time because I was the child of a single mom. So but anyway, so we have to make sure that we evolve and grow into people that can explain and communicate the things that our children need and want to know. And then we have to evolve and grow within ourselves. So there's some things deep inside that we push down in there that maybe we haven't addressed, or maybe some type of heart wound, or a heart had been broken from either one of our parents, or a sibling, or a cousin, or a friend, or a boyfriend. Maybe that has happened, but we need to address those things so that we don't spew out the hate or the hurt to our children, and then we're not aware of what's going on with them because we're too busy having to deal with our emotional and heart issues, that we come at them in a way that they um will not be nourished or grow in a way that we would want them to. That's not to say we're bad people, but children bring out the things that we need as single moms to see and fix within ourselves, by doing things like we talked about in day one, where we realize who we are, we breathe, we have that time to ourselves, to think, to clear our minds. And we do that. Then on day two, we talked about how well, and also on day one, we talked about how we're not perfect, and we're not meant to be perfect moms, but we do need to learn how to forgive ourselves when we make mistakes. When we make mistakes, or something doesn't turn out the way that we want it to, we need to forgive ourselves and not beat ourselves up over it. But day two, we talked about how single moms pray. That is like our saving grace, is that we pray a lot. We pray a lot. And we talked about how prayer was and how simple it was, and how it doesn't have to be the drawn out thing. But a lot of times, as single moms, we're in situations where it's a long, drawn out thing because that situation seems long and drawn out and like it's never going to stop. But that's one of the things that single moms, we do and we know how to do, is pray. Sometimes that's all we can do all day long just to get through the day. So today we're talking about the early stages. So that was the early stages, and this is just part two because I did a little recap on that. And so the primary stages of this is that we need to become more active, do some physically do some things to help ourselves evolve, so that we can help our children grow and mature, and in their different, in their primary stages as well. And so for us to do that, some of the good ways to do that is definitely journaling. I'm gonna grab my journal because it's right here. So I have this journal here, and this is the journal that I actually put in the box, the Single Mom Queen Kit box that you guys have an opportunity to win that giveaway, and it's a whole box. And this is the self care part, self love portion of it, where you can journal through there. It's got some guides in there that I actually draw and write in myself, that I've used, and it covers the 5 areas and 5 building blocks of our lives, um, and which is, personal, spiritual, physical, um, relationships, and money. Those are the 5 areas of our lives that we need to gain control and keep control or self discipline over. I'm going to say not control, because control will drive you crazy and make you anxious and upset. Self discipline. And self discipline is being consistent and committed to whatever it is that you have set out for your goals. So journaling is a really good way to do that. Um, and that's something that you could do during your quiet time, and just journal your thoughts out. If you uh, about to say, if you do this, it'll help you to gather your thoughts and to be more awake and present when your children are up, and when you're around people that you love, or your friends and loved ones, coworkers, whoever. You'll be more present when you have that opportunity to have that time and space to yourself. um, and that's something that we need to do on a weekly basis. It was I keep saying last year, but it was actually the year before. It was 2020 that I had a special guest on, and I had a special guest on, and she is somebody that I know. She used to watch my son when he was a newborn, and I was working for FedEx, and she is a licensed relationship coach, and counselor. So she was on, and she told us the difference between self love and self care. So she said that self love is all the stuff on the inside: your mind, your heart, your soul, um, your mind, your heart, your soul, and your emotions. And then the self care is everything we do on the outside. So it's everything we do on the outside. It's the facials, it's the massages, it's getting our nails done, getting pedicures. All of that is self care, but they go hand in hand. If you're trying to do one, but the other hasn't been done, it's not. It's not that you don't enjoy it. It's not that it doesn't do anything for you, but it doesn't do as much as it could. So if we work on both of those things, the inner part of us, our mind, our heart, and our soul, and the outside part of us, and we put those together and we work on those on a consistent and committed, basis, because committed in our consistency and working on both of those things together, that's what makes us better people, which makes us better moms, which makes us better friends, better sisters, better aunts, better, work associates, better CEOs. That's what makes us the CEOs of our lives, is making sure that we address both of those parts of ourselves. So what I want to ask you to do is to create a journal. You don't have to have a hardbound book. You can get some of the paper from your kids. If your kids are still school age, and that line paper that you buy every year, and now you got a big, huge stack because you keep buying the stuff on the list. and you forget that you have all that stuff, and like, doggone it, I didn't need any more of that. You could use that. You could use some copy paper, just write on any type of paper, and start writing your journal. I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I will. I will drop in the journal guide that I use in my that covers the 5 areas of your life. It's prompts and tells you how to fill, the things and the way to fill out these areas. It doesn't tell you what to fill out, but it tells you what what you should, your line of thinking to fill out these areas. That helps to keep me be grounded and guided in the direction that I need to go. Because if I ever feel like things are just out of control and going buck wild and just wild, when I do get that time to myself, I go back to my journal, open it in the front, look at the 5 areas and the goals that I set and the benefits of me reaching those goals and all the courses of action that I said I was going to do. And I look at that and say, okay, I need to do focus on doing these actions so that I can reach my goals and receive the benefits of reaching those goals. So I'll drop that in the group, just as long as there's no technical difficulty. Because I don't know, I think Facebook is changing some things, and so Facebook is changing some things, and I don't know, my Wi-Fi, I don't know, possibly some user error in there too. Um, it just went wild, but we good today. So I'll drop that into the group, and you feel free to download that and use that as your guide for your journal. Um, Also, if you want to you, what you can do is give your takeaways from some of the sessions. If you've missed anything, the replays are under the guides tab of the Single Moms Club private Facebook page, or if you're watching on YouTube, because I know there's some people maybe watching YouTube because they're not just ready to join a Facebook group. But there's a whole lot of us in this group. It's like over 200 of us in the group. I think it's at 224, 25 right now. But join us, and share your takeaways. Nobody's going to blast you about it. Nobody's going to bully you about it. Nobody's going to tell you it's dumb. None of that is accepted because we do have rules in this group, and nobody's going to spam you with promotion and all the other stuff. Know that Facebook does some of that stuff on its own by sending out suggested friends or whatever. That is not necessarily people doing that. But friend requests and all that stuff, none of that stuff is done in this group unless people are making genuine connections with you. You're not required to accept them as friends, but having a single mom that may possibly be in the same area as you, or maybe that you have some type of connection with, would be an awesome thing. So I'm going to drop that in the group. I've gone slightly over because, again, I don't know how my event got switched to tomorrow to 1 a.m. on one area, and it says 8 a.m. in another area. But we just gonna make it through. If you missed any of the sessions, again, go to the guides and you can watch the replays there. And of course, give us your takeaways. Share your takeaways with us. What you might say might help another mom. Maybe they wanted to ask that question. Maybe you are answering a question for them that they were too afraid to ask. But that's what this group is all about. It's about us being a community. It's about us going from just surviving to being CEOs in every area of our lives through self-care, self-love, and support. We're supporting one another, and supporting one another through genuine friendships with another single mom, and just having that community and some place to go where you feel safe and that you can ask questions and not have somebody looking down on you because they don't have a clue what you're going through. I've come to learn to not take advice from people that don't have kids and never raised kids before. They really don't have the compassion or the experience to speak things to single moms that single moms need, because they've never experienced it. So anyway, that's the end of this session. We have 2 more sessions to go, Thursday and Friday. The Single Mom Queen Kit is always given away the following Tuesday after the challenge, so that gives people a whole weekend to binge watch all the sessions, which is about 2.5 hours. And that 2.5 hours is basically a movie. So you could sit there and just binge watch all of them, give your comments, your takeaways, and you could just give a thumbs up on something, or give a heart, or give a, I don't know. I might add some comedic things in there, maybe, put some emojis on there. You could do all of that. That also qualifies you for participating. What it is a top contributors during the challenge are the ones that are put. Facebook will give me a list of people of top contributors, and whoever's at the top, if you have not won in the past 90 days, it will be you. If you have one in the past 90 days, we will skip over you and go to the next person, so that we can give as many single moms an opportunity to win a Single Mom Queen Kit. We already have one single mom in here. I haven't seen her on yet, but she may be watching the replays. I haven't seen her on live yet, but she may be watching the replays, and she's already won twice. So she's won two boxes of self-care products, the journal, so the self-love is in there as well. And then she's won all of those things. If you search through, you can find Nicole won her boxes. She actually put on in the page, in the group, she put what was in her, she showed pictures of what was in her box, and she just did basically an unboxing through pictures. And so she did that. So go check that out. And okay, I'm done for real. Bye. I will see you guys tomorrow. Much love. My name is Bess Parks, and this was day 3 of the Evolution of a Single Mom Challenge, day 3. And tomorrow will be day 4. And we will see you then. Much love. Hashtag Single Moms Level Up. Bye. And